Welcome to another episode of Power Alphas. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sabby Piscitelli. And as always, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fiance, Mandy Rose, or Mandy Saccomanno, whatever she wants to go by, but people know her on the social media as Mandy Rose. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I like your little pink jacket. What is that? It's a nice little jacket.
It's Givenchy.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means.
Well, okay, funny story behind this. I bought this just for our Mandys pop-up in California, okay. Daria and I, when we had our pop-up, and she wore, was it green or yellow or blue? I forget what color she had. So we had matching jackets, but we walked out of there like, did we just spend $1,500 on a windbreaker?
You thought you were cool with that?
Do you remember like windbreakers when you were little?
They were like $50 in high school. Those were like things to wear too.
Yeah, Givenchy. So, yeah, I'm doing okay. This week was a little rough, not gonna lie.
It was rough?
Yeah.
Why was it rough?
I don't know. I just was just a little off this week. I mean, you could attest to that. Was I off this week?
Yeah, you were a little moody. You were a little bit on edge. Everything bothered you. You were short-fused, short-tempered.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm gonna oversee it and keep it moving. But yeah, it was. It's funny though because like when one of us has those days or couple days or moments, it's like the energy is just so off, and we both can sense it so quick. And
I feel like it's like a steamroll effect. Like it's just like when I'm off, then like I sense your energy's off because of my energy, and then I start thinking in my head like, why is he acting weird? Why is he not being like as affectionate as he usually is? But it's like, well, I'm probably not being as I don't know. It just like ends up being bad.
No, you're right. It's almost like a domino effect, and it's like your energy plays. Like it's just like those moments you get where you're like, something's wrong. So sometimes we both have a tendency to like kind of fade backwards, and sometimes some people need their significant other to fade forwards and kind of grasp them and hold them and give them a hug and say what's going on. I think we kind of could both do a better job of that, to be honest with you. I think like you said, like sometimes I feel your energy and I kind of like, okay, let her be.
Yeah, be distant. But meanwhile, all I want is you to just be
affectionate, probably.
Yeah, so that is true. I think that's relationship advice, guys. This is something that we think that we can work on.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely is a thing. Like I even we were fighting a little bit, and then I felt like you're like, well, you need to, you're moody or you're on your period, whatever you said, and it's like, well, but what if I just want to like talk about something, but you're not being like
but sometimes
open.
You're not good at just saying that though. You just have like a bad energy about you, and your
Where's
mood
my
is
therapist
different.
right now? We need our therapist here.
And honestly, you know what's funny that I've picked up on our relationship that like we could improve, and I don't know how other people's relationship is, but it is like a kind of a steamroll downhill, and then kind of you don't have you don't have that sexual encounter, you don't have that engagement, and I think as the days go on, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse because now you're coming into like the sexual frustration, your intimacy ain't there, plus you're moody, plus you're angry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind
That's
of
what happened.
It's kind of not a good remedy, but we got through it.
But it goes back to your love languages because my love language is physical touch. I think yours is as well. So I feel like if I'm not getting that physical touch from you, I feel like then it even gets worse. So then I get inside my own head. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, but you
week.
can't ask for physical touch if you're being nasty and moody and distant, because then it's like it's almost like a turn off to the significant other. With even we got in an argument one night that was pretty deep. So it was one of them things where I think things were said that we didn't mean, and sometimes other people need more time to get over those scenarios, and then then they start to wonder what's going on. So it's kind of I think communication. I think communication is the key there. I think we both can improve on that. Is the lack of communication when we start to feel the energy off.
And it just goes to show everyone out there listening, like we may look like we have this amazing, perfect relationship, which we have an amazing relationship. Don't get me wrong, but there are those moments where we wanna,
Oh, yeah, I had to cut her off for like 3 days. I had to cut her off. She was mad. I cut her off. No hanky-panky.
No hanky-panky.
No hanky-panky.
We won't go into too much detail, but I had a little too much fun at Daria's wedding.
You know what the problem is, even to touch on this real quick. First of all, I never drank my whole life. Right? Until maybe 5 years ago. I love a casual tequila now. But my biggest thing, I never drank because I always want to have control of every narrative in my life. You look at so many athletes, so many relationships, anything that comes to destroy that aspect of it, the common denominator, in my opinion, is alcohol or drugs. And so for me, you had a great time at the wedding, but, you guys are drinking all day.
Yeah.
You can't drink all day and sustain that kind of pace of alcohol. And I think, by about 12:31, 1:30, it caught up to you. And, to be honest with you, it showed me why I never want to go down that path of having alcohol in large consumptions. Because for me, and I think everyone listening to this, I think it's very important as a human being and as a person, if you're going to drink, that's fine. Make sure you know your limits. Make sure you know when to stop. Make sure you know how to pace yourself. Because if you cross that boundary of you don't have no control of what you say, you don't have control of how you act, you don't control what happens, that is a relationship killer. And that could be, you see a lot of pro athletes get in trouble with women. You see pro athletes get in trouble in the club or in driving a car too fast. All the common denominator is alcohol. If you think about it, it's alcohol.
No, I agree. And coming from a family who, battled addiction and, maybe it could be in my genes a little bit and through my mom's side and my dad's side, wherever it comes from, I do agree that, alcohol abuse is like the root of all evil. And I think it's a very, very dangerous road. There's a lot of people that suffer from addiction, and obviously, I don't have a problem here, but I will say I think sometimes when it comes to day drinking, like you just said, I feel like I'm separate, like I'm drinking throughout the day, so it's not that much. But then when you think about it, when it comes to like midnight, like you actually think about what you drank, how much you drank throughout the day and night, and it hits you. But like, I was having a great time. Everything was fine. We were dancing. It was like a reunion for me with a lot of my WWE people, so I haven't seen them in a while. It was really an amazing wedding. We had such a blast. Sabby was moving and grooving on the dance floor as well. And then, it just probably, when I probably should have stopped at some point because I felt like I might have said some things that I shouldn't have said. But you know what? We've all been there, and we're moving on. And
we got through it.
I don't really think I'm going to drink that much anymore.
We got through it, but I think the lesson here for both of us is just well, even for me, I'll tell you a little quick story on that night. I actually was having a great time, and usually I don't drink like that long period of time. Usually I'll have like a tequila or two on date night or here and there. But I had a good amount of tequila because it was a wedding, right? Because so it goes on. It's progressively a nice night. It gets better. I actually remember the part of the wedding for me where like I got up and I was dancing, having a great time, and I actually kind of was like, oh, okay, hold on, slow down. Right, I felt a little lightheaded. I felt a little off, so I actually sat down for about 45 minutes, about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I actually just started drinking a lot of water. And you came up to me at that point, and you're like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was conscious enough to identify that was my threshold right there. Boom.
Yeah.
If I kept going, it could have been ugly. It could have been bad. I could have felt sick. I could have, done things I didn't want to do. So for me, the only lesson I would have to give any advice from our mistakes or not mistakes, just if you're going to drink with your significant other, just make sure you do it in moderation and keep control. Because if you get to that limit where you start saying things you're going to regret, that's a bad day. And,
it's drink responsibly. And it's also like sometimes, like, for instance, I feel like we fought about this before in the past. Like, sometimes when I start and I'm having a really good time, it's hard for me to stop. And I think that's the problem. And I've seen that in family members. I've seen that, one of my other brothers actually says that he doesn't even like to drink that much anymore because he's noticed, like, little things like that. And him and, Gary and Amanda have fought about it prior to this. Like, when Amanda even said the other day when I was telling them about it, she's like, a lot of our fights back in the day, because they're like high school sweethearts, derived from like Gary drinking too much or doing things.
Common denominator.
And it is true. So, on to the next. We're over that. On to bigger and better things.
She almost got the boot with some of her comments. So I'm just
we won't mention those.
But on to the next.
Yeah.
So we got through that.
Yeah. So Super Bowl. We had a little get together, which was a lot of fun. What did you think of the game
in New York,
overall, babe?
First half was a little boring. I thought the second half picked up a little bit. It's just a chess match when you play against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They're so good. They're so talented. They're so well prepared. It's unbelievable. And I don't think a lot of people talk about this enough. Yeah, Mahomes is right now the best quarterback in the NFL. Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end ever, if not right now in the NFL. But no one talks about how well prepared they are, because I think Andy Reid is the best coach right now in the NFL, now that Belichick is gone. But it's just, you look at that game, and it's again, I think top to bottom, 49ers on paper should have won that game, but they didn't, because the Chiefs are so well prepared, and they have guys that just show up when the lights come on. And overtime's always good for a Super Bowl, always good ratings. So kudos to them.
Speaking of Andy Reid, I have a question for you because of your experience in the NFL and under those high-pressure moments. It's a big topic right now out there. What do you think of Travis Kelce getting in Andy Reid's face like that?
Oh, yeah, I think emotion got the best of him right there. I think it's a no-no to ever bump your coach, and any kind of contact is definitely a no-no. I'm going to assume that their relationship is very, very professional and very transparent. So I'm going to say that that was more of an emotion. He got caught in the moment, and he was, frustrated, it looked like.
And he says that. He made a statement that he did get caught in the moment.
He got caught in the moment.
Frustrated.
And I think that's what's made him the greatest tight end, or if not one of the greatest tight ends ever play the game, is his passion for the game. But definitely a no-no. To bump your coach. But again, like Andy Reid even said, though, I watched it a few times. I think it was a little bit misconstrued, because I think he bumped him as he was on like one foot or kind of walking a direction. So he was kind of a little off balance. So it looked like Andy Reid kind of stumbled a little bit. But it wasn't like a malicious like bump. It was just more like the intense of like, let's go. I can't really repeat what he was saying.
Yeah, well, I think he said like, keep me in the game. Right?
Well, I think it was about something about he was not happy about coming out of the game or not getting the ball enough in the first half. But definitely a no-no. I'm sure he regrets it, but I think Andy Reid respects his passion and respects how he approaches the game. So I don't think it's something that Andy Reid's going to harp on.
No, he made a statement too, saying that he understands, his frustration, and they have a very good relationship, and it wasn't like it was out of malicious intent. So I was just curious, because it's like, that's your coach. You got to kind of honor your coach, honor your, I don't know. I feel like as an outsider looking in, it looks a little bit disrespectful, but I think it's not the first time that's probably happened.
I can see how it looks disrespectful on TV, but again, no, it wasn't like Andy Reid was like yelling at him, and then he kind of like went in his face and was like, no. It was more like I think he was just out of excitement and anger and passion, was like trying to go up to him fast and just, give me the ball, like keep me in the game. So yeah, but again, I don't think there's any room, and I don't think a player should ever touch a coach. But that circumstances was a big game. So
for sure. No, it was I was kind of busy hosting our little get together, so I didn't really get to see
you were
a lot
playing
of the
host
game.
for your family? Yeah, we were in New York. I know you got to see your mom and dad came over, your brothers,
the kids.
No, it was fun. It was fun to be in New York. We literally just got out of town in time. There was a huge snowstorm last week. We got out the day before. So that was, it was kind of a bittersweet. I know you wanted to stay and get snowed in and see, a huge snowstorm in our house.
You wanted to see a snowstorm at the house.
I did
you
too.
kept saying that. That's why I was like, we got a snowstorm. We'll fly out Wednesday, whatever.
I did, but I didn't want to get stuck there for a few days.
It was like a good foot almost, so it was probably better off. I think really he didn't want to shovel the driveway.
No, I didn't want to shovel.
He's not a
Ben, let me ask you a question. Would you want to shovel a 100-yard driveway or be on the golf course the next day?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
exactly. I want to shovel that driveway.
I understand. However, our driveway too, Ben, is like rocks, so they probably need like a grader.
Yeah, it's not even.
We can't even shovel it, so it's really just like shoveling around to get the car out, probably. So
you have a snowblower?
No,
I know,
we don't have a snowblower.
We need one. Yeah.
No. So, put it like this. Here's the thing. We were not prepared, so I made a conscious decision that we're better off to leave, and we had our dogs at home, and we were already gone for like 6 days, and my dad was staying at the house, and they were going back and forth. So I just felt like it was best for us to get on that plane and get out of there. But it
was best for Sabby to be on the golf course.
No,
the weather was beautiful.
It wasn't even a golf course. It
in
was
Florida. The weather was. No, you did. You went to the golf course the next day.
Sabby, have you shoveled the driveway yet?
Never shoveled snow before
Shoveled
in
a
my life.
driveway.
Nope.
It's not that much fun.
I know
it's actually terrible.
Thank you.
terrible.
It's not that much fun. And the way
It's
our
a workout.
driveway is set up in New York, it's probably 50, 60 yards.
Yeah, it's like a
come on,
horseshoe.
man. There ain't no way. I'm good.
No,
But,
he's not into shoveling. He's a Boca boy. Come on now.
Well, babe, I know you have a couple big appearances coming up. Why don't you talk about those for a second?
Yes, I do. So my first appearance is coming up actually March 2nd in Manchester, United Kingdom, which I'm really excited for. I haven't been out of the country in a little while, so I'm excited to see everyone in the UK. It's for the love of wrestling appearance. So excited about that. And then March 16th, I will be back for a big event in Brentwood, New York. So not far from my hometown. So that'll be fun. The last big event I did was so cool. We had a lot of fun, a lot of fans out there. So if you guys are in the New York tri-state area, make sure you come by March 16th. Also, Philly, where Mania is. That's going to be a crazy week. I'm definitely there for the tailgate party with Kurt Angle, which is really cool. Me and Kurt Angle are going to be hosting that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
So I was really excited when they asked me to do that because I'm like, yeah, with Kurt Angle? Hell yeah. And then I'll probably be at Comic-Con, I'm assuming, but that's not totally set right now. So I got a lot of appearances coming up. Those are the 3. They're always on my social media. I always try to announce those. So make sure you guys come and hang out, come say hi, get a photo, picture, autograph, all that good stuff. And I wanted to talk about the TV show we watched the other day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trending number 1.
It is trending number 1. What? Oh,
Lover, Stalker, Killer. Have you seen it, Ben?
Ooh, I have not even.
No?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's really wild.
But it's kind of scary if
Yes.
if you're single right now and you go on these dating apps.
Yep.
And you go on these dating apps, it's going to make you a little skeptical about it. But it makes you really think wow, what people are capable of.
I know.
And it's almost mind-blowing to me that somebody would dive that deep into something to either destroy somebody's life or harass them or be so obsessed with them. It actually, to me, it's kind of scary when you think about it.
No, it's very scary when you think about it. And people will say things about women going to meet men. Oh, you got to be careful. No, men have to be careful to meet women. Both.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in that dating world, and for instance, my mom, is, and when you're on these dating websites or whatever it is, I'm always like, Mom, you never have someone come to your house. You always meet them in a common area, whether it's a Starbucks, anything like that, because you don't know, you could be catfish. You could be, God forbid, he's a whack job or whatever the case may be. So anyway, we don't want to give it up, if you guys want to watch it, but really good show. I think it's number 1 right now. And it's just wild.
And it's dangerous for both men and
Yes.
it shows both
No,
perspectives.
it's actually for this one, it's more dangerous for a man,
It's
which
more
is
dangerous for a
crazy. But I
man.
don't want to give it away. But yeah,
go watch it. It's the women.
It's
that are
actually
nuts.
you got to really and don't have your phone. Pay attention because as the
Yeah.
story goes on, they really it really kind
every
of gets
detail.
deep, and then at the end it's like the punch. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, there's kind of a turn where you're
there's
like,
a turn.
oh, I
It's
wasn't
like-
expecting that.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. And again, Mandy and I are not huge TV people, so if we get into something, it's pretty it drew us in for sure.
Does it give you American Psycho vibes?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit,
Yep,
yeah.
Definitely. You'll like it.
Okay,
Definitely.
I'll check it
Go check it out.
Yeah, you would like it.
So Valentine's Day, should we tell everyone what your original plan was?
The Valentine.
Or do you not want to be embarrassed?
What, with the bikes on the beach?
No, yeah, sunset.
Oh no! It wasn't a sunset. I said, I grew up in Florida. First of all,
You should know this.
No. First of all, yes. No. So I said I recommend it for Valentine's Day. Because we always have our nice date night every Friday. So we always go to really nice restaurants. And so I said, let's do something different for Valentine's
It's
Day.
Valentine's every day for
Yeah,
us,
it's Valentine's
right?
every day. But I was like, yo, babe, we always have a sushi night as well. That's one of our things too. We love our sushi once a week. So
Yeah.
I was like, babe, why don't, and the sushi spot we go to is right by the beach. So I said, babe, why don't we pick up sushi one night for Valentine's Day and let's just go to the beach. We'll go on the beach. And in my head, I knew that the sun rise is on the beach on the East Coast. Obviously, if you're on the beach East Coast, you see the sun come up. But if you're on the beach on the East Coast, you never see the sun go down, obviously, because it's behind you from the West. So I just was like, let's just go to the beach and
see the sunset.
See the sunset. But I wasn't really thinking like we're gonna watch the sunset. I meant just like we'll be on the beach, the sun's going down, it'll be a nice breeze, and then when it gets dark, we finish eating and we leave.
And meanwhile, my blonde ass is like sitting there. I'm like, where's the sunset? Meanwhile,
so Mandy's
it's
like,
behind us.
Yeah, we're in there. We got the sushi laid out. We got the sushi laid out, nice little picnic blanket. Just a nice, relaxing night. Beautiful weather. It was like a nice little breeze. And she's like, well, I don't see the sun. Is it behind the clouds? It hasn't gone down yet. And then that's when it dawned on me. Like,
he's like, wait.
That just dawned on me.
He's like, I'm so stupid. He's like, I grew up here. Sun rises in the east, sets in the west.
Yes, but I never really thought I didn't think like we were going to actually watch the sun go down. Like, right? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking like you were gonna be like, am I looking look at the water? It's just it wasn't that thought process.
It was a beautiful night. It was very relaxing. Like Sabby said, we do dinners all the time, so like we wanted to do something different. Sunset was beautiful behind us.
Yeah, not funny. Well, I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day, and I hope
too.
Kind of piggyback what we just said, like, if you do have somebody in your life, a significant other, you do have a love of your life, your fiance, your wife, even your serious girlfriend, cherish those moments. Be grateful for those moments. It's kind of a day to just express to them how much you are thankful and grateful for them because, not everybody has the privilege to fall in love with, their best friend or their soulmate. And so for that, and if you haven't had yours, just keep working on yourself and you'll find the person that's supposed to be in your life. So
yeah,
I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day. I wanted to jump a topic though, real quick I read something about your WWE best moment. I want to ask you a question because I was reading about it. And it said, according to the Sportster, the number one moment of your wrestling career was winning the NXT Women's Champion. So I just wanted to get, is that your, because according to this magazine, that's what they thought your best moment was. I want to get it straight from Mandy Rose's mouth. What was your best moment, you think, in WWE?
So I feel like it was definitely one of my best moments, but I wouldn't say that it was like the actual best moment because I look at it like that definitely, having that NXT Women's Championship definitely catapulted me into, having the long run and kind of putting respect on my name and really gaining that respect from the fans. But I wouldn't say the actual moment was the best moment. I think like the 413 days were the best moments of my career because
dominated
because I was a champion, but I personally don't think in WWE to become a star, you need a title around your waist. And a lot of people can agree to this because in WWE, it's all about making a statement, getting over, we say, whether you're a babyface or a heel, good guy or bad guy. And I personally think it's about making the fans feel something. I never thought having a title would validate my talent. I know how I know, how talented I am. I know all the hard work I've put into to get to where I am today. But I think definitely having the title solidified the fact that I have put in all this work. I did, put my ego aside. I did go back to NXT. I not only helped improve my career, but I helped other women improve their career. And I, became friends with all these new women that were on the horizon of becoming big stars and at the beginning of their career. So I will say it was one of my best moments, but I think having the title doesn't make someone in WWE. Unlike other sports, sometimes it's a little different, like UFC and whatnot. But in sports entertainment, I really don't think having a title makes you, I think it helps the star power, but I also think that it just, if you can come out there with no title around your waist and make the fans feel something, like you see a lot of talent out there, men and women, that's a more positive moment than having a title wrapped around your waist.
I think that's an incredible answer. It really is. And I think any superstar that's listening to that, that's some great knowledge and advice. But now that we're in the WWE world, I know obviously WrestleMania is coming up. What do you think of this whole The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody? It just, to me, I see this controversy stirring up. There were some crybabies on Cody not finishing his story. The Rock's coming. It's bloodline of Roman Reigns. I know people wanted to see The Rock and Roman. What is your 2 cents on this? What do you think's going on?
So I think it's really crazy because, you have the people's champ, The Rock, who is coming back, and everyone loves The Rock, right? I mean, you can't deny that. But all of a sudden, he's now, people don't like him as much. They're booing him. They love Cody, which I understand, and I understand that Cody has to finish his story. But it's like all of a sudden, I think it made Cody Rhodes such a bigger babyface in this whole situation. And you really never know what's going to happen. Like, that's what I love about being in that, when I was in that in WWE. It's like, you can't really predict what happens. Like, yes, do they predict having a huge match, Roman Reigns versus The Rock? Of course, but they didn't expect this huge thing. I mean, you have to now change the script and adjust and do all these things. So I think it's kind of crazy, but I think it's really cool for Cody especially. And WWE fans, like, they're going to definitely still want to see this match regardless if they, it's even going to maybe Roman is more babyface too against The Rock now. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you just say that. And I know when we're in the industry, and we were both in the industry for a while, obviously you made it to a different pinnacle, but like they do say, the fans run the show.
100%.
And, like you just said, like, I think they had an idea what they wanted to do, and the fans said, nope, we're not buying this. We don't want this. So I think, I remember John Cena years ago had that big promo in the middle of the ring with Roman Reigns, and he said something that, remember, these fans dictate your career.
Yep.
And, that's a perfect example.
It is. And I 100% agree with that. And I think also, the fans are, we always say our fans are extremely loyal, but they're also loyal to a fault, but in a sense of like, Cody won the Royal Rumble. The rule is the winner of the Royal Rumble faces the champion at WrestleMania, and usually for the main event. So there's also controversy with the women right now. I don't know if you know, but, Bayley won the Royal Rumble, and there's a lot of controversy. I was just reading about how that match, whoever Bayley chooses, which now she's choosing Io, that should be the main event because that's what they said. So like our fans don't forget what was said at one point. So it's like there's a lot of controversy about that. And someone stated, which I can't really remember who, but they said the main event should be the hottest storyline, which I do agree with. But then there was a stat that I just actually saw this morning about the women's segment, Bayley, Io, and Dakota, all of them last week, which I didn't watch, but it just peaked under like 2.7 million views, I think, or 2.9. I forget the exact amount. Which, so people were like, it was very controversial because it's like, well, that's crazy views. So how do you justify that this storyline is a bigger storyline than this one when the views, like, you know what I mean? There's so many things involved, but that's another hot topic right now that is going on in the wrestling world.
Well, I guess WWE's got a lot of controversy going on, good and bad.
Oh, yeah.
With Vince, we don't talk about that, but I guess you guys got to tune in to WrestleMania. It's gonna be a pretty interesting WrestleMania. I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's also exciting for us because we were in it, and all like now we're able to watch it and sit back and kind of like I talk to a lot of those girls still and guys, and it's like I like to see them succeed. I like to watch it like as a fan now, which is really cool.
No, absolutely. We saw Montez and Bianca this weekend, and I gave them both a big hug, and I'm so proud of both of them. They came into NXT when I was there, and they've really built their careers up. They built their characters up, and I told them I'm so happy for all your success, and I continue to keep pushing for both of them. I really took a liking to them, years ago. They're both very hardworking individuals, and I just try to share my knowledge. Just financially right now, to how they're doing very well, and hopefully they take care of their money because their money will take care of them when they're done wrestling. So I'm just excited for them.
And we saw a lot of good people.
Yeah, they're another great power alpha couple. Hopefully one day they'll come on our show. But shout out to both of them, doing very, very well. And I continue to see so much success out of them. But it's great. So I'm excited for WrestleMania because WrestleMania is their Super Bowl, right? NFL Super Bowl, and then WWE Super Bowl is WrestleMania. So it's going to be a good weekend that weekend. So
for sure.
I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Do you guys think either of you would ever be asked to come back?
Good question.
I mean, Mandy would have a way bigger chance for her to come back because she was double champion and she made a big name toward the end of her career. Mine, never really got kicked off on a high level. I was always like the kind of like the what if superstar. I was like the guy who was like never really. Everyone kept saying, "Here we go, we got the next big star." We just never got out the gate from a lot of different reasons. Injuries and changing of the guards, and Vince trying to sell the company, get younger. So for me, I don't think so. But I don't know. Mandy can answer hers.
Do you think just being together, would that have any influence? Like to get now, like the date, like would that have any influence on?
That's a great question. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be completely transparent. I think when I was there and she was there, we would have been the biggest power team, I think.
We did have that one match together.
But I think, honestly, and I mean this in a humbling way, I don't think it would have been any comparison to put us two together as a power couple. I think it would have been something special to watch. We had so many storylines we could have done together. But it never came about for a couple different reasons. So, but Ben, you make a great point. I think if they wanted to bring back a power couple to represent them, I think it would be pretty interesting to watch.
It would be, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
No, we always said it. Like, we actually had this match. It was really, really, really early in my career. You were still, you had probably 6 months, maybe a year in, or whatever it was. And it was a triple threat
match, yeah.
And oh my gosh, it was Rollins would die. It was so
Ben,
bad.
you never seen a Tino promo, huh? Oh, I might have to cut you a Tino promo one day. Tino ain't humble like Sabby, like the way this podcast is.
Really?
Built like Superman, 6'4", 240 pounds.
Calm down.
Really?
Calm down.
I gotta see. I gotta see that.
Oh, listen, Tino. Tino, the character Tino, and what was special to me is when you had legends come up to you. Like, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes was one of the first ones to pull me in the office. Scott Hall pulled me aside. Ric Flair said something to me about how my character just had that it factor. It had the presence. It had the way it walked, the way it talked. And, it is a little unfortunate that the character Tino didn't really get a real shot, because I think he was very, very hated and well-liked by the females. So I think I had the mix of both. But that's another day, that's another day. So
he did, for someone who wasn't even like regularly on NXT TV or like out there as much. Like, he did a lot of live events. Like, we call it heat. Like, the heat Sabby got, the booze, Tino got, was really insane. Like, it was, for someone that,
that's
like,
good, right?
No, it's a great
thing.
And
it's a great thing.
Like, when you had people like that, I think are the best workers, in tag team and literally in wrestling right now, is probably, the Revival, when it's, Dash and Dawson. Those guys were like those die hard, study all day, lived it. They grew up loving the business. When they pull you aside and say, listen, like, you have something that, like, you can't teach, right? Like, we all have to do things to get heat or to get hated or get liked. He's like, your music hits and you come out with your presence and the way you carry yourself, the way you walk, the way you talk. That alone gives you ridiculous amount of heat. And that's why, like, when it comes to my character, and I mean it's like in a humbling way, like, I had guys like Triple H and then pull me aside. I was like, listen, like, you're like everything we want. We just want it to be a complete package and we put you out there. So I feel like the mistake they made was, like, they wanted everything to be perfect when they kind of pulled me out of the garage. Instead of letting me go out there, make my mistakes and grow, they waited so long that it was too late, right?
Yeah.
I got hurt a couple times, and then, all of a sudden the whole
age thing
switched. Like, Vince always wanted, like, mature and mature older men, and all of a sudden he wanted to sell the company. So now you got to cut it down to younger, because when you sell something, you want something younger because it's more appealing. So that was kind of a curveball, but I do. We were even talking about it the other night. I'm very grateful. I'm very humbled. I'm very thankful for my life. But that would have been a nice thing to see. That's the only thing I was bitter about, was that, like, I never actually got my run to see what Tino could have done. And I was always the guy that people would be like, oh man, Tino's next in the spotlight. Tino's next, the main eventer. Tino's going to be that guy. I just can't wait to see him push him, see him put him in storylines. And everybody was talking about that for years. And it was like, wait till Vince sees Tino, and it just never got there.
Well, that was similar to my track record, like, going back to my first run in NXT. A lot of it was wait till we're waiting for, Vince is going to want you on the main roster. Vince is going to, we don't even want to, like, I wasn't even involved in a battle royal with NXT that was like just a whatever match because they didn't want to show me. They wanted to save me. So
they didn't even use you in NXT
they
before
never
you went
used
up.
me. And then I went up and it was like this is what you guys saved me for. So, there's a lot involved, but I think they did that with me as well when it's like, you know what? Like, throw them out there. Like, no one's going to be perfect. No matter how good you are on the mic, your wrestling moves, whatever, you're going to make mistakes. Like, even though you have it, which you did, and we all know that, it's like, you were going to make mistakes, but that's how you learn. Like, I've made so many mistakes on live TV that, like, I look back and I'm like, ooh, cringe. But, like, it made you better because if you didn't have that situation, you wouldn't know what to do in the situation. So then next time it happens, God forbid, it's wrestling, so you can change, you can segue into, like, a better spot, we call it. So, like, I mean, to conclude this all and move on, it was definitely probably the biggest drop ball of Tino never seeing, being on.
And I had writers say,
character.
I had writers that have been in the business 15, 20 years write me a paragraph when I left the last time. They made it very clear I've been in this business 15, 20 years, and they said to me that you're probably the biggest drop ball on a superstar they've ever seen. And it is what it is, man. But again, I'm grateful, man. It never came about. It wasn't God's plan. And for that, it's okay. But
and it goes back to what Chris said in the last episode about how how we talk about unanswered prayers or
absolutely, I could have got hurt.
Yeah, what if God forbid you got hurt and it was something that you did get hurt a little bit, but thank God it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Absolutely. Before we end the show, babe, why don't we answer a couple emails, a couple questions?
Yeah, but we have another topic to talk about.
Oh, what's the topic you like?
Yeah, because we got some time.
We got as much time as we want.
The emails are quick. So dominance in relationships. Ooh. So, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and people always say, because our topic of our podcast, power alphas, and it's like, how much dominance? Like, we all know, I'm an alpha, of course, and we butt heads a little bit, but some people saying, like, you showed your dominance in the ring, but, like, what about dominance in a relationship? And, like, what's your take on one being more dominant of the other, but maybe it's the woman and maybe it's not the man, or maybe it vice versa, or whatever it may be. Like, what's your take on that? And do you think there's, like, a boundary line that, like, one should not cross?
Oh, that's a great question, by the way. That's a tremendous question. Let me think a little bit before I answer this.
A little bit.
So the question's about the dominance in a relationship.
So basically, like, another question was, what are some ways in which dominance is okay in a relationship and ways it is not? Kind of like that boundary line.
Dominance in a relationship. I think it's very important because deep down inside, every female wants this. They want to be with a man who gives them security, gives them, comfort of their presence, that they can protect them, that they could make sure if anything goes wrong, they have a man's man that they feel comfortable around. But that being said, I think there's a fine line of, you don't want to be disrespectful with your alpha presence as a man. You don't want to overpower the woman because you want the woman to have their own alpha, their own self-worth, and their own self-efficiency in the relationship, right? And I think that's the generation where we're kind of going to in this world. Let's just look at the economics, the financial state of this world. This world's between inflation and where the prices are going. The reality is you need dual incomes. You need two incomes in this world right now. So I don't think it's like old school where, like, I'm the man, I'm the alpha. You sit home, do laundry, cook, clean. When I get home, I want dinner on the table. I think those days are gone.
Right.
I really do. And I think that's, to me, was like more of an alpha presence for a man that would show my dominance. Oh, I got my wife at home. She stays home, just cooks and cleans for me. But I think those days are gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. So I believe when I see where the world's going, I think it's important to get that balance with your significant other. I think it's important that you make your significant other feel they're alpha as well in their categories.
Yeah.
And I think by them bringing their alpha presence to your relationship will only help you guys grow together.
Exactly.
Create businesses. That's something that I'm a big believer in. But I do think it's got to be a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be like dead equal. But I think in their respectful lanes, I think both the male and the female gotta have some sort of dominance in their aspect of their relationship.
I agree. Good answer. I think the first part of what you said about, usually a woman wants to feel, I think safe is a very big part of it. Like,
absolutely.
You want to feel safe in your home or when you're out, and God forbid someone talks to you in a bad way or puts their hands on you, whatever it may be. You want to feel safe that you know that your significant other is going to stick up for you and so yeah, I like that. That's a really good answer. Okay, cool. Let's get to our emails. So
I always love our emails.
Yes, our emails are great. If you guys don't know, every week we read a couple emails from the Power Alphas podcast at gmail.com, which you can send an email in and state whatever you want to state, a question, statement, whatever it may be usually, and we like to read them off. So this is from Rudy. Hi, Mandy and Sabby. Love listening to the pod every Monday. I have a relationship question for you all. After years of not wanting one, I now would like to have a nice relationship and settle down. So I have been going on many dates with potential lucky ladies. However, I have a few stipulations that I don't know how to properly discuss or know when I should discuss them. I don't want kids, and I don't like pets.
Oh, I love our dogs.
The kids, okay, but the pets, when should I disclose this information? Is it possible that those decisions can grow on me, or do you think it's a pretty done deal? I feel like it's cutting out lots of potential ladies. Rudy, you're really pigeonholing yourself right now. I hate to break it to you.
Let me ask you a question. Does he say his age by any chance?
He does not.
He does not say his age? Because I think age right there plays a little bit in our answer because, the older you get, the more stuck in the ways you are.
Yep.
Right? If you've been single for a while.
And to not want kids is one thing. I mean, everyone either, you want them or you don't. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that is very important to state early. Mostly for the women, I would say, especially being usually women bear the children. And I feel like if a woman always wanted children her whole life, to be with a man that doesn't want kids, that wouldn't be fair going on in a relationship and not telling them that. And then, years go by and you're like, oh, by the way, I didn't want kids. I don't agree with that. However, the pets thing, I mean, if I met someone and they didn't like pets, I'd be like, sorry, gotta go.
I think, honestly, the reason why I asked what the age was, because I think age has a lot to do with my answer here and how I answer this question. Because, if you're still in your 20s and you don't know if you want to get married, that could change, right? That could change. If you're in your early 30s, that still can change, in my opinion. Now, if you're 40, 45 years old and you're still single and you're dating, looking for a relationship, I think then you say that very early, that I'm 40 years old, I don't want kids. The pet thing, I don't know how many females are really gonna bother with it. But I think Mandy's right. I think if you're, if you're in the upper 30s and 40s and you're doing this and you're still on these dating sites, which is fine, I think then you make that very clear of what you want, because you don't want to waste nobody's time at that age, right?
Yeah.
Some people at that age kind of been through some things, either divorced, had that run, so they want something different. But I agree. But I think if you're in your 20s, I mean, I don't think you need to say, I don't want to get married because, or I want to have kids, because for me, even in my 20s, like, I was so focused on my career. If I met somebody like, oh, I want to have kids, I'd be like, no, I don't want to have kids right now. I'm not saying I didn't want to have kids ever, but I couldn't even fathom having kids at that point in my life because I wasn't going to be a good father. I wasn't ready. My mindset wasn't correct. I want to be the best father when I'm going to be a dad, when I'm blessed to be a dad. I want to be ready. So for me, to answer that question, I think age dependent has a lot to do with it.
I agree. And Rudy, it does depend on your age, but I also will say that if you are young and you might not think that you want kids, when you find that right person, your mind might change. So my advice would be open-minded. Even the pets thing, like if you're with someone really awesome and you guys want to get a pet, like yes, the idea of having a pet is a responsibility and it could mean not being able to do certain things. But when you're with the right person, it may make total sense. So don't always be so locked in on something that you may think.
Rudy, I'm going to piggyback for a second on what Mandy just said. When I felt deep, I've always loved Mandy, but when I felt head over heels deeply in love that I knew I could not live without Mandy, you get a sense of I'll give Mandy whatever she wants. If she wants a kid, she gets a kid, right? Yeah. And it's funny because it's like you get to a point when you fall in love that whatever they want, it'll bring a smile to your face knowing you can give that to them, right? Yep. So even for me, it's like I actually never ever really deep thought, do I want kids? How many kids do I want? But when I fell in love with Mandy and Mandy's like, I want kids, baby, we're going to have kids.
Well, baby wants, baby
baby
gets.
wants, baby gets. But that's a great answer by Mandy because don't pigeonhole yourself because like you said, it's okay, you might not want kids, but when you fall in love with that person, you're going to want to make her happy. Mm-hmm. So that's a great answer. That's a great point.
Yeah. So Rudy, good luck to you. Don't worry, you will find the one. Keep searching. Okay. Jackie. From Jackie. Hi, perfect duo. Thanks, Jackie. So I just started dating this guy and we hit it off quite well. Been dating for a couple months now. Everything is great, but one thing. Ooh. He is a sports fanatic. Like every single sport. Football, basketball, baseball, even fucking hockey. Who watches hockey? Hockey's actually fun to watch. But needless to say, I despise every sport. How can I make this relationship work if I am not a sports fanatic? Any advice? Love, Jackie.
Sorry, Jackie, it ain't gonna work. I'm just playing.
No, I know some people that like their significant others, usually they're the men. If it's like too much into sports, it can get a little overwhelming. I like sports. Thankfully, we both can sit and watch sports. But I think when it like takes over your relationship or like it's always about sports, anytime you go to put on the TV, anytime you're talking, when you're a fanatic, it's a little much.
I think I got to answer this correctly because
like your obsession with golf.
I think she just said that he's a sports fanatic. And maybe I'm wrong here. But sometimes females view their boyfriend or significant other, when they have another obsession with something, they get a little intimidated. That the focus isn't on them, right? That the focus isn't always on them. But don't view it like that. It's not that the focus is not on you. Men have obsessities, and if obsessive is watching sports, they have to get all in on it, right? So if a man obsessed with sports, I don't think you're going to change that. I think you have to accept that he loves you, right? Or he's dating you and he wants to fall in love with you and he wants to get to know you better because that's what he's doing. He's dating you. But don't get intimidated because he has another obsession. Because you don't have to be the only obsession. And that's my answer because
that's the dude's answer.
That's the dude's answer.
I'll give you the female version.
But I sense that with Mandy sometimes, and this is, she'll say stuff about, even when we get into a fight sometimes, she'll be like, "Oh, you'd rather be on the golf course than with me," and I'm like, "That's not true, right? It's different. It's separate. Like I have obsessive personality. I had the privilege to become a professional athlete, and they say there's no way you become that great at a craft unless you're obsessed with it. So I have obsessive personality. I'm obsessed with her, but I'm also obsessed with everything else I want to do. If I want to play golf, I get obsessed at that moment. So, I think from hearing the question, it sounds like you're a little intimidated by him having an obsessity with sports. Talk to him about it and see if maybe he can give a little better balance for you.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to get into is the word balance. So, Jackie, I can kind of relate a little bit with you. I wouldn't call Sabby a sports fanatic, but I will say there are times, like he just said, where, he needs to get his fix, whether it's golf, poker's not, I don't know if poker's a sport, but poker or, watching sports or whatever it is. And it's like, there needs to be balance. Like no woman wants their husband being super obsessed with something more than them. And yes, you can be obsessed with something, but like a woman, most women love attention and they need attention from their significant other. So if your significant other is like glued to the TV or constantly on the phone, obsessing over sports, you are going to feel intimidated and you're going to be like, well, he'd rather pick sports over having sex with me, and that's a problem.
But that's not true though. Like, don't look at it as like a competition. It's not a competition. Men need other obsessities. They need other things to validate them as a man. Like if watching sports is one of those, it's gonna be one of those. If it's going to the gym, is going to the gym.
All right, but now we're going off topic, going to the gym, because that's my I need to go to the gym, but
Yeah, but I'm saying I just see it sometimes with women, and I see it even with you sometimes. Don't get intimidated by it if a male is obsessed with either watching sports or doing. It's not that it's taken away from you. It's just a balance in their life. They just got to do a better job of making sure that you're number one. Yeah. Because I always tell you you're number one. You know you're number one. So just make that clear.
Yeah, you got to make that clear. Definitely got to, and especially if you're new in this, you guys just started dating, so it's a good time to do it. Without scaring him off. For sure. I would just be like, listen, I love that you love sports. This is awesome. I love that you have your thing, I have my thing, whatever it may be. But maybe we got to make sure we put ourselves first before the sports. This way, that, the root, like we always talk about, of the relationship. So hope that helped, Jackie. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Power Alphas. We're super excited. We're growing. We're getting better at this.
We had a really good episode last week with Chris, and we have a lot more good guests coming that we're really, really excited on.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't watched that episode, make sure you
watch that, because Chris is so successful in his world.
We learned a lot from him.
And we learned a lot. I learned a lot, and I hope you guys can learn a lot. So again, shout out to Chris. Thank you for coming on. And we do have some great guests coming, so I'm excited.
We do. So make sure you guys subscribe and like our YouTube channel, as well as we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And send your emails in to poweralphaspodcast@gmail.com. And more exciting guests to come. So thank you all.
Thank you.